Alrighty, guys. Well, we have a new Star Wars show coming out soon. Surprise! I was surprised. I had no idea this was coming out, but lo and behold, shouldn't have been that surprised because this has happened pretty much every year for the past couple of years. We have a new Tales of the blank Star Wars little miniseries coming out on May the 4th. They've been doing this for the past couple of years. They started out with Tales of the Jedi, which I believe was Ahsoka, and I can't remember the other one, but it was Ahsoka, and then we had Tales of the Sith, I want to say, where we had, I think it was Barriss, and then we had Count Dooku, and I think Count Dooku was Tales of the Jedi, I could be wrong. So they've been little fun vignettes, right? Little fun escapades, re-entries into the world of Star Wars, and particularly for someone like me who has so much inherent nostalgia. This is a big nostalgia episode today on the Access Blockbusters Pod. We're going to be talking about How to Train Your Dragon later on as well. But anyways, for someone like me who grew up watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, who loved Star Wars The Clone Wars so much, it was, in fact, I don't know if it's still quality-wise, if I rewatch the entire series right now, if I still would say it's the best thing that Star Wars has ever done, but it will always hold that special place in my heart, Star Wars The Clone Wars. And, it's always great to re-enter that world, the same animation style. It's, they've kept that animation style with these Tales of the Jedi, Sith, and Underworld because even Rebels, right, has a slightly different animation style these days. And so the Bad Batch Clone Wars kind of animation style, which I love. And so we are getting new episodes of these Tales miniseries, and it's going to be Tales of the Underworld, specifically focusing on two of what has to be two of Dave Filoni's favorite characters of all time, being Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. And I say that because he's really focused on these characters a whole lot throughout his tenure in Star Wars. And who can blame them? They're interesting characters, although as I was watching this trailer, we'll talk about my thoughts in just a second, or I guess we'll just jump into it. As I was watching the trailer, I couldn't help but think, well, now that we know what happens to Cad Bane after he dies in the Book of Boba Fett, spoilers, I guess, which was, I'm not going to say his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett was disappointing in itself. Maybe the fact that he shows up and dies was a bit disappointing and strange, just the fact that he's such an iconic character and you bring him back to kill him. I don't know, is what it is. But now we're getting some backstory with him, which is an interesting thing. And then Asajj Ventress, who I think is one of the more interesting characters. For those of you who have not seen anything but the animation, there are a lot of canonical books and other sources that talk about what Asajj Ventress was up to after Order 66 and her adventures or misadventures with Quinlan Vos, and a lot of really interesting things. And the fact that, when we're introduced to her in the very beginning of Clone Wars, she looks like another Sith in training, or a kind of maybe replacement for Count Dooku's going to try to overtake Palpatine, and then you kind of evolve right with her as a character, and she's an assassin, but she has some misgivings about the whole thing. She tries to kill Dooku later on, so a lot of interesting things with the character. I'm not entirely sure. I guess for Asajj, it's very clear it takes place after Order 66 because she's on the run. And also she says, she has a line in the trailer where it says something like, I was Dooku's prime assassin and I don't want that life anymore. So it's going to be much later. And I would say probably shortly after Order 66, just based on the canonical events of her life afterwards. But we'll see. We'll see where we go from there. And then for Cad Bane, who knows? It could be any time in the past before Book of Boba Fett. Who even knows when that's taking place? I wasn't looking for Easter eggs or really trying to hunt down every single clue or little detail. I was just watching the trailer and enjoying it. So again, I'm excited for this because I think that while we may never get another season of Clone Wars because Clone Wars Season 7 was the quote-unquote ending, led right up to Revenge of the Sith, I would have still hoped for Clone Wars seasons that were still between Season 6 and between Season 7, which was the last one. That being said, I think that I'll take this. I'll definitely take this as little consolation prizes, I suppose. They're fun, right? They're not groundbreaking or earth-shattering in a sense, but it's fun. It's really fun to see these characters again. I remember watching the Ahsoka ones and seeing Matt Lanter and James Arnold Taylor as Anakin and Obi-Wan again, and that was really, really fun for me. So I enjoyed that very much, and I'm going to look forward to seeing these on May the 4th, of course. May the 4th be with you. So, guys, what did you think of the trailer for Tales of the Underworld, a new Star Wars little miniseries that we have going on? Let me know in the comments down below.